Maths Paper 2 is considered to be the harder paper by the majority of students. This is partly due to a pair of topics which feature prominently on this paper: probability and trigonometry. These topics contain some of the most difficult skills on the whole syllabus, and they cause a large amount of difficulty for many students. If these topics cause trouble for you, then you've come to the right place. In this video, I'll demonstrate how to pass paper 2 without solving a single probability question. Furthermore, the only trigonometry I'll use is a direct application of Pythagoras' theorem. This is considered by many to be the easiest skill in trigonometry. The official Leaving Cert syllabus lists 59 different mathematical skills which are relevant for paper 2. In this video, I'll show you how to pass the paper using just 5 of these. The time allocation for the exam is 2 hours and 30 minutes. In this video, I'll demonstrate how to pass the paper in under 30 minutes. The rest of this video is structured as follows. I'll begin by breaking down the official marking scheme for the exam and identifying the easiest questions to answer to reach a passing grade. Next, I'll provide detailed work solutions to the chosen questions. To conclude, I'll summarise the 5 key skills which were used to get over that 40% passing line. Many of these skills come up every single year in the Leaving Cert, and mastering them may very well end up boosting your grade. This video focuses on the 2022 Ordinary Level Paper 2. This exam had 2 sections. Section A was worth 120 marks, and you had to answer 4 out of 6 questions. Section B was worth 100 marks, and you had to answer 2 out of 4 questions. In my opinion, the easiest way to pick up marks in Section A was by answering the following questions. Question 2, AI. Question 3, AI and II. Question 4A. And question 5B. In Section B, the best questions to answer were Question 7 AI, Question 7B, Question 10 BI and II, and Question 10E. These highlighted questions all have something in common. They didn't require a huge amount of prior knowledge or time to solve, yet they rewarded you with a substantial amount of marks. If you did manage to successfully solve all these questions, you would have ended up with a total of 45 marks on Section A and 45 marks on Section B. This would have given you a total grade of 90 over 220, which comes out as 40.9%. This means that solving these questions would have been enough to pass the paper. In the next section, I'll guide you through exactly how to do this. Question 2 AI was worth 10 marks and involved the equation of a circle. There is a result on page 19 of the formula book which will help us here. The equation of a circle with centre h, k and radius r is x minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared is equal to r squared. The structure of this equation is very similar to what we're presented in the question. All we have to do here is match up the corresponding components to find the values of h, k, and r. The given equation contains x minus 4 all squared. Our formula has an x minus h all squared. So here we have a 4 in the place of the h. In other words, h is equal to 4. The given equation contains y plus 2 all squared, whereas the formula has y minus k all squared. We'll have to be quite careful with the signs here. The given equation has a plus 2, whereas the formula has a minus k. This means that minus k will be equal to plus 2. To find k, we can multiply both sides by minus 1. This gives us that k is equal to minus 2. On the right-hand side of the given equation, we have 169. On the right-hand side of the formula, we have r squared. This means that r squared must be equal to 169. To find the value of r, we'll need to get rid of the square. Whenever we want to remove something in an equation, we should do the opposite to both sides. The opposite of a square is a square root, so here I'm going to square root both sides of my equation. If we type the root of 169 into our calculator, it'll give us back 13. So here, r is equal to 13. We've done all the hard work now, and we just need to tie everything together. In the statement of the formula, we're told that the circle has centre h, k. We found that h is 4 and k is minus 2, so the centre will be 4, minus 2. We found that r is equal to 13. In the formula statement, r corresponds to the radius. So here, the radius is equal to 13. Question 3, AI and II were both worth 5 marks. These questions involved finding the mean and median of a dataset. It's actually possible to do these questions completely on your calculator. If you want to see how to do this, check out the video I've linked in the description. In this video, I'll show you how to solve these questions by hand. In part I, we need to find a mean. The key point here is the following. The mean is found by adding up all the values and then dividing by the number of values. So there's 2 things we need to do here. We'll need to find the sum that we get by adding up all the values, and we'll need to count up how many values are on the list. Starting with the sum, this is just a bit of calculator work. We'll do 17 plus 8 plus 9 plus 8 plus 14 plus 11 plus 28. Performing this calculation gives us 95. When it comes to counting up the number of values in the list, we're given this directly in the question. We're told the list contains 7 numbers. If you didn't notice this, you could have just counted them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. To find the mean, we should divide these 2 values. It's 95 divided by 7. Typing this in our calculator gives us 13.5714. The question asks us to give our answer correct to 1 decimal place. So rounding off, our final answer here will be 13.6. In part II, we need to find the median of the 7 numbers. The key fact you need to know is the following. The median is the middle value when the numbers are listed in increasing order. So the strategy here will be to list out the numbers in increasing order and then pick out the middle value. So let's write out our list in increasing order. The smallest value in the list is 8, and this appears twice. So we'll start with 8, 8. The next smallest value is 9, then 11, 14, 17, and 28. Now that the numbers are in increasing order, all we have to do is pick out the middle value. One way to do this is to repeatedly cross off the smallest and largest value until we hone in on the centre. In this list, the middle value is 11. In other words, the median is equal to 11. Question 4a was worth 15 marks, and it involved drawing a pie chart. Thankfully, they've already got us started here. We know that the distinction section has an angle of 40 degrees. We can use this information to help us get going in this question. Looking at our table, there were 8 students who got a distinction. This gives us a 40-degree angle in the pie chart. Writing this in an equation, we know that 8 students corresponds to a 40-degree angle. If we can use this to find out the angle that one student corresponds to, then we'll easily be able to scale this up to find the angles for the other 3 sections. Well, the number of students has been divided by 8. So the angle should also be divided by 8. And 40 divided by 8 gives us 5. This means that one student will correspond to a 5-degree angle. So, when we look at the high merit grade, we had 12 students. If one student gives us a 5-degree angle, then the angle for 12 students will just be 5 times 12. This gives us a 60-degree angle. There were 39 students who had a merit grade. Again, one student gives us a 5-degree angle, so 39 students would have an angle of 5 times 39. This gives us a 195-degree angle. Finally, there was 13 students with an achieved grade. Each of these students gives a 5-degree angle, so in total we'd have 5 times 13, which is a 65-degree angle. Now that we know the angles for each region, we should get out our protractor and measure them into the pie chart. As we do this, it's important to remember to provide labels for the angle and the grade. To begin, let's measure out a 60-degree angle for the high merit section. The merit section needs a 195-degree angle. This causes a bit of an issue because the standard protractor only can measure up to 180 degrees. A useful tip for drawing pie charts is to always leave the largest angle till last. So let's skip over this for a moment. The achieved section needs a 65-degree angle. We can measure this out using our protractor. We've now drawn in the regions for 3 out of the 4 grades. There's only one that remains: merit. Since this is the last thing remaining, it must correspond to the remainder of the pie chart. Question 5b was worth 10 marks and involved using Pythagoras' theorem. This theorem appears on page 16 of the formula book, and let's begin with a recap of the statement. It says that in a right-angled triangle with a hypotenuse of C and lengths of A and B for the other two sides, C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. In this statement, the hypotenuse refers to the side which is opposite the right angle. In our question, we're asked to find the distance from H to K. Let's label this unknown with X. In the formula statement, C refers to the hypotenuse. In our triangle, this is 30 centimeters. The other two sides can be labelled A and B in either order. Here, I'll label the X as A and the 12 centimeters as B. The statement of the theorem is C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. In our triangle, C is 30, A is X, and B is 12. So this becomes 30 squared is equal to X squared plus 12 squared. We can use this equation to find the value of X. To begin, let's do some simplification. 30 squared is equal to 900, and 12 squared is equal to 144. The X appears on the right-hand side of our equation. To find the value of it, we'll need to get rid of everything else on that side. In other words, we need to get rid of the square and the plus 144. The opposite of addition is subtraction, so to remove plus 144, we'll subtract 144 from both sides. We can do some simplification. 900 minus 144 is 756. The opposite of a square is a square root, so to remove the square, we should square root both sides. On the right, the square root and the square cancel. Turning to our calculator, the root of 756 comes out as 27.495. We must give our answer correct to one decimal place. So rounding this off, we'll get that X is equal to 27.5. The unit for the other side lengths in our triangle was centimetres, so that's the unit we'll want to use here. Question 7 AI was worth 15 marks and involve drawing a stem and leaf plot. In the key, we're told that 6 line 0 corresponds to 6.0 kg. This means that the central number corresponds to the digit before the decimal place, and the numbers we'll write on the outside will correspond to the digit after the decimal place. The left-hand side of our plot corresponds to day X. Let's start by filling this out. The first row contains a 4, and there's two numbers in our list which start with a 4, 4.5 and 4.9. Here, we should fill in the two boxes closest to the 4 in increasing order. We have a 0.5 and a 0.9, so the two numbers we should write in are 5 and 9. The second row in our plot contains a 5. For day X, there were 4 numbers which start with a 5. We need to write in these numbers in increasing order. The 5 has already been accounted for in the central column, so we only need to write in the digit after the decimal place. Here we have 0.3, 0.3, 0.5 and 0.7. So we write in 3, 3, 5, 7. The third row in our table has a 6, and in day X there was two numbers which started with 6, 6.7 and 6.9. Again, we only need to write in the digit after the decimal place, so here we'll have a 7 and a 9. We should write these in increasing order as close to the centre as we can. The next row in our plot has a 7. There were two numbers in day X which started with 7, 7.3 and 7.4. The 7 has been accounted for in the central column, so we only need to input the digit after the decimal place. So here we'll write in 3 and 4 in the two boxes closest to the 7. The final row in the plot contains an 8, but there were no numbers in day X beginning with 8, so we leave this blank. Making the stem and leaf plot for day Y is very similar. We'll go through each row, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and write in the numbers which start with that digit. There's only one number which starts with 4, 4.8. So in the row with the 4, we'll write in an 8 as close as we can to the central column. There's two numbers that start with 5, 5.4 and 5.5. So here, we'll write in a 4 and a 5 as close as we can to the central column. There's three numbers which begin with 6, 6.1, 6.3 and 6.0. We have to be careful here. We can't just write in the numbers in any order, we have to do so in increasing order. So here we should write 0, 1, 3. Day Y contains three numbers which begin with 7, 7.0, 7.6 and 7.9. So here we'll write in 0, 6, 9. Finally, day Y had one number which began with 8, 8.1. To account for this, we should write in a 1. Question 7b was worth 10 marks and involved using some simple problem solving to fill out a table. The key idea in this table is that the total values are found by adding up the relevant components. For example, let's focus on the cats. We had 5 male cats and 9 female cats, so that gave us a total of 5 plus 9, which is 14. We can fill out the first blank by focusing on the column for male animals. There were 5 male cats and 11 male dogs, so this gives us a total of 5 plus 11 is 16 male animals. Next, let's focus on the total number of dogs. Well, we have 14 cats and we have a grand total of 40 animals. We can use this to figure out the total number of dogs. It must be 40 minus 14, which is 26. Now, we can find the number of female dogs. There's 11 male dogs and a total of 26 dogs, so the number of female dogs must be 26 minus 11, which is 15. The final blank is for the total number of female animals. Well, we have 9 female cats and 15 female dogs, so here the total will be 9 plus 15, which is 24. Question 10 BI and II were each worth 5 marks. Solving these questions involved finding a margin of error and performing a percentage calculation. The key fact that you needed to know for part I is the following. The margin of error is 1 over the square root of n, where n is the sample size. In this question, we had a random sample of 1,500 people. So here, the sample size, n, is 1,500. The margin of error is 1 over the square root of n. Subbing in our value of n gives us 1 over the square root of 1,500. If we type this into our calculator, we'll get 0.0258199. In this question, we're asked to show that the margin of error is 2.6%. This is in percentage form, whereas the answer we have is in decimal form. So we should convert our answer into a percentage. To convert from decimal to percentage, we multiply by 100. Another way to think of this is that we move the decimal place 2 slots to the right. So, as a percentage, we end up with 2.58199%. We are asked to present our answer correct to 1 decimal place. Rounding this off gives us 2.6%. This is exactly the answer we wanted to obtain. In part II, we're told that 71% of the sample said they walk for recreation, and we need to find the number of people that do this. Well, the total sample size is 1,500. And 71% walk for recreation. To find the number of people who do this, all we have to do is multiply 1,500 by 71%. This gives us an answer of 1,065 people. Question 10E was worth 10 marks and involved using some problem solving on the given information. We're presented with 2 plans here, a silver plan and a gold plan. The gold plan is more expensive up front, but all the classes are free. We want to determine the scenario where the gold plan costs less. The gold plan costs €670 up front. The silver plan costs $420 up front. 670 minus 420 is 250. So, ignoring the classes, the gold plan costs 250 more. The main benefit of the gold plan is that all classes are free. This is not true for the silver plan. Here we must pay €6 for each class. So, the gold plan will cost less if we're attending at least €250 worth of classes. Since each class costs €6 on the silver plan, we can find the number of classes we need by dividing 250 by 6. Typing this in our calculator gives an answer of 41.67. Of course, it doesn't really make sense to attend a decimal number of classes. So to get our final answer, we should round this up to 42. I'll conclude this video with a summary of the 5 key skills we use to pass the paper. The first skill was using the equation of a circle, and this gained us 10 marks. The second skill was calculating measures of centre, specifically the mean and median. This also earned us 10 marks. Next was representing data graphically. In particular, we used pie charts and stem and leaf plots. This picked us up 30 marks. The fourth skill was applying Pythagoras' theorem. This earned us 10 marks. The final skill was calculating the margin of error, and this bagged us 5 marks. Something important to add is that general problem solving earned us the remaining 25 marks. These questions do not require any prior knowledge and could be solved with a bit of logic and reasoning on the spot. So, regardless of how much knowledge you have going into the exam, it's absolutely crucial that you stay confident and give the questions a good go. A lot of marks can be picked up by just applying basic logic and reasoning on the day.